Hey everyone. So I'm starting off this series with just a very generic setup. So this is where we're going to set up everything that we need to create this mob. So what my goal is we're going to want a typical like RPG monster where you see them, you walk up, they'll come and attack you automatically. Let's say you run too far away, they're just going to go back to their spawn point. um, when you kill them over a certain amount of time, you'll be able to respawn them. You also could do it to where maybe you don't want them to respawn afterwards. We'll make sure to add a toggle to that later on. And then we're gonna set up the individual like data assets. So we're gonna tie these monsters into a primary data asset where we're going to have like all of its information. Um, excuse me, the model name, animation blueprint, the animations to play, etc. And then we'll go into setting it up with the AI. We're just going to create the folders and all the necessary settings for it. And then we're going to create that monster spawner. All right, so getting into this, the first thing I want to do is start setting up the primary asset. So first we'll need a monster folder. You can name this however you want. And I do want to state that everything that I'm doing is just things that I have found out on my own. Feel free to rework it or put it into whatever pieces that you want. Let's see. And then let's go to primary data asset. We'll name this DA for primary data asset. All right. Sorry, this is a new project that I created. So let's go into editor preferences. I don't like that it opens in different windows. So under asset editor open location, we'll just do main window. That way things just pop up here. All right, so things that we'll need. Let's go into here. Let's say, let's see, what if we want a icon for the UI? So that would be later on. We'll just set that to a texture. We could change that later on depending on whatever we need. Name. Model. Let's change that to text. Model is going to be the skeletal mesh. This is just so we know what to change it to. And animation blueprint. Let's just do BP. That just looks better. Blueprint. Animation. What's it called in here? Animation. Object types. What is it? Instance? Oh, it's fucking anim. Sorry. Anim blueprint. Alright, we'll do that. And then, let's see. I don't want to put the montages in here, but we could put the attack montage or death montage in here and activate it that way. That is what where I got this idea from was the Ryan Laley videos where he used primary assets, but I'm gonna do stuff just a little bit differently. But definitely check out his tutorials if you want to walk through. He does like a Pokemon tutorial. It's really great stuff. Let's go evolve level. So when Sorry, I had the Pokemon still in my head. We're not evolving these monsters. We don't need that. Let's see. I'm not going to deal with stats right now, so this should be good. Name, model, animation. And yeah, we'll set with that right now. Cool. And then with this, let's go data. Data assets. And then what we'll do here is data. Oh. Come on, can you search the whole thing? There we go. Data asset. It was under miscellaneous. And then we want DA monster info. Select. For this, I'm not importing any random assets right now, so we're just going to use the Quinn model and just make like random variations. So I'm just going to go Quinn X, and then what I'm going to do, let's just get a random image. Yeah, I don't really care what it is. Skeletal mesh. Okay, so we'll need to create that, but we're going to use the Quinn animation blueprint. Name, we're just going to call Quinn X. Cool. And then let's make those variations. Character, mannequin, meshes, variations. I'm just going to Control D. We'll do Quinn X. Boop. And then I'm going to make 3 of these because I'm going to just do 2. I'm just going to do 3 monsters that we'll be able to do later. So we got Quinn Y, and then we'll do Quinn Z. So for Quinn X, all I'm going to do is just change the material. I'm not going to get super fancy on this. So let's just change that pink. That good? Cool. All right, now we got a really, really shiny pink one. So good on that. For this, let's go. Yo, that transparency is actually pretty cool. I don't know how well that's going to actually look in game, but it doesn't actually matter for here. We can always adjust this in the future. This is just so we can see the difference when necessary. And then we'll just make you a solid blue. Cool. So we got pink, blue, and some transparency yellow. It's actually just yellow color. I think I don't want to do the transparency. No. We'll just do that. Cool. Cool, so we have X, Y, Z. So for X, let's just go Quinn X. Cool. We don't need those anymore, so let's close that out. And then save. I'm gonna clone this for Quinn Y. Quinn Z. Just putting random icons so that I don't have to import anything. We got Quinn Z. Yeah, we have a nice little random chart. Cool. All right. We got the variations that we want. Cool. And then now let's go into AI blueprints. So what we'll need is new folder. Let's call it AI. We're gonna need behavior tree. This is just gonna be the very generic monster. This monster is just gonna stand there. If you end up getting close, then it'll attack. We'll make other variations afterwards, but we're just gonna start with the very simple. So BT for behaviortree. And let's just name this standard monster. No, sorry. Monster standard. And then we'll go into Blackboard. BT Blackboard for monster. We'll just leave it at monster right now. That should be good. Doesn't really need to do anything right now, so we'll leave it right there. All right, and then to get a monster to even spawn, we need to get it its blueprint. So what I'm going to do is create blueprints. Let's go into this character. Gonna duplicate this, call it BP monster. Drag that into blueprints. Alright, and then first thing to do is change the auto possess so that placed in world or spawn, so that if we ever were to spawn it, it uses the blackboard. So with that, let's get rid of this because we absolutely don't need that. Okay. Cool. I'll get into setting up construction script later so that we can use the primary data assets. As of right now, let's go into setting up that monster spawner. So here, we're going to go into blueprint, actor, BP monster spawner. And then what we'll want to do is we want to spawn the monster. We want to be able to select what type of monster it is. And then we also want to set it up so that it will respawn afterwards. First, let's just set up spawning. So let's go into from class. All right, and then what we want to do, spawn whatever monster we want. So I'm gonna promote this to a variable. We'll name this monster class. Gonna make that instant editable so that we can change that in the world. Now the location we want, let's get actor location. I'm currently just, get actor transform. What I want it to do right now is it's just going to spawn wherever the spawner is located. Later, we can change this into something like spawn within a radius, and then we can go from there. Right now, we're going to go through here. I'm going to try to adjust location, but always spawn. I just prefer to use that. Feel free to use whatever you feel is right. And then after this, we'll spawn that. So what we want to try, let's go into here. I'm gonna add a plane. This is just so it's visible. And let's do that. Okay, so on begin play, it should spawn whatever class I set. So what I'm gonna do, here's the monster spawner. Right there. Under details, we gotta select whatever class. Let's type in monster. So we got BP monster. And then what it should do is spawn it. Bam. So we got our monster. Granted, facing the wrong direction, but he's spawning. So that's what we want. Now we also don't want the plane to be visible during the game. So I'm going to go back to over here. Under hidden in-game, set to true. Now, we can see it here. So this is just my indicator to know it's there. You can use other shapes as well, like or any other type of just icon. You don't actually have to use one either, because you still have that little circle thing. I just like to have an indicator for me. I'm going to just do this. Okay, so we got that. So now that it spawns, we also want it to be able to respawn. So what I want to do is I'm going to make another thing called core. Now there's probably a lot better ways to organize, so feel free to do that as your own choosing. For me, this is where I'm going to put any type of components, so where I'm going to have the stats located. If the monster needs like a component for attacking, its UI for like the health bar, whatever else it may be, I'm just going to throw into here in its own respected. So from there, what I want to do is I'm going to create an interface. I hate that if I'm hovering on top of something, I can't just type. Okay. So I'm putting I for interface. And we'll just name this monster core. And then in this, we're going to just say respond. This is just to call the event once the actor has died. So from there, I don't need to do anything. We'll go back into the spawner. So what happens is it spawns, but when they die, nothing happens. So what I want to do is bind on destroyed. I'm going to need a custom event. I'm just going to name on destroyed. Can do on destroyed. Let's do actor destroyed. And what I'll also need to do is off on this end, have another custom event. I'm going to name this respond. No, scratch that. Why would I do respond? So what we'll do is that interface I made, monster core. The reason for making this is so that we have the respawn. We'll now do a delay. So what you could do is, for respawning it, waiting after a certain amount of time, you can you can do like a timer, or you could do a delay. I'm just using a delay because it's easiest, because what I'll do here is I'm going to connect this. I'm going to promote this to a variable. Let's drag that off so it's not hiding. And we'll do spawn delay. So when this is called, it's going to wait whatever time it is set. I'm going to set the default to 5. So for 5 seconds. Actually, let's do a little shorter, because if I want to test it out. Here we go. So what happens is, at the start of the game, it's going to spawn the monster. And then it'll go through, and then once destroyed, it's going to call this event. And then what we're going to want to call is respond. Now, you don't have to do a blueprint interface for this, because as of right now, this doesn't have any purpose. But I'm going to be using this later down the road. So at this moment, you don't have to do that. You could just do a custom function or custom event here, and then you call the other custom event. So instead of this, you could just have a custom event called respond, and that would work perfectly fine as well. Just for me, this is part of my plans later on. So what should happen here is that once it dies, it'll go into here and respawn, and it will spawn the same actor again. So we'll need to be able to test that out, but we need to be able to destroy the monster. So what I'm going to do is under my character controller, I'm going to do just a random input. So let's do Q input. Get all actors of class. I'm going to get monster. This is just for debug purposes. We'll do loop. And we'll destroy actor. Alright, so when I press Q, it should just kill the monster immediately. So let's test out if this works. So after 2 seconds, the monster should respond. Alright, he's there. Hit Q, and he's dead. After 2 seconds, he's back. We'll try it again. Bam. Alright, so we have the monster. He can respond. So we have the basic setups that we need here. We'll be able to go into further on the next one, where we're going to start working on the monster blueprint itself. We want to be able to set the different data, and then we can go into how to go about interacting with the player and following them, resetting back to spawn. Awesome. Well, tune in next week where I'll go into that, and look forward to seeing you guys.